happens when the grind actually pays off? Most people just fantasize about the freedom, but few people actually taste it. Mike Duarte built a real business with his brothers, 60-hour work weeks, built not bought, and now he got bought out, is fully out of the game, and is now spending time with his sons, keeping his ear to the ground for the next opportunity. If you've ever wondered what the life looks like after the grind, the success, the sacrifice, and what it takes to get there, then this conversation might just change your perspective on what it takes to get there. So, Mike, man, it's been almost 3 years since we did the last podcast. You were actually the last person that we did the podcast back in November of 2022. And that was when you were with Paint Master Services. And so, what's changed, man? What's been going on since we shot that video?
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yeah, I hear
Holy
that all the
cow,
time.
the 3
Yeah.
years. Well, I'm no longer part of Paintmaster. Actually, I'm still in a little bit of consultant role, but at the end of March, I officially sold out, and I'm now just on to the next adventure. So, yeah, a lot has changed mindset-wise from 3 years ago to today. So,
Yeah.
interesting to be talk about.
And like leaving Paint Masters, that was a family business with your brothers to where you are today. Like, how hard was it to let go?
You know something, it is hard because ultimately I was Mike from Paintmaster, right? Not Mike Duarte. And so it's a little bit of an identity thing. Like me and you met, why? Because I was Mike with Paintmaster, right? We became friends, and so there's a little bit of that, like, okay, what will my identity be? Because that's how the community knows me. And so I think that was the hardest thing to get through.
Yeah, I can see that. And so, what has been the most like? Has it been like the retired dad, or has it been like the consultant like side of you? Like, what's been the most exciting thing?
Well, honestly, just I tease that I'm on a sabbatical right now, but my mind's always going. I've been working with some nonprofits and stuff, and actually, a couple good buddies of mine. One has a painting company down in Dallas, and the other one in San Diego. I've been kind of working in a consultant role, which actually really helped because I just went down there because ultimately how I started and worked and all that. It was just like there's no secret sauce. Show up, work hard, treat people right, and you're good, right? And then going down there and just riding along with them, you're like, wait a minute, like that is what I am doing is not common. Like that is not common sense. So it was good for me to be able to see that, and to be able to like talk to him. And then when I went to San Diego, same scenario. So I did really enjoy that part of it. I enjoyed like kind of the travel, the adventure part of it. But one of the reasons why I chose, I don't want to die behind a computer screen. Like, that's not me. That's not my personality. So I don't think I would go the consultant route. But it's been a blast being a dad this summer. Like, it's the first summer. Like, I've literally just took off. Like, my kids are number one right now. Like, because ultimately you have jobs, and like on a Sunday after a tournament, we decided we were going to jump in the RV on a Monday, and we drove like throughout the United States, ended up in Omaha to go to the World Series. And it was just like those moments, the memories that I've got with my boys this summer have just been just awesome.
Yeah, and so for those people that like haven't like don't know who Mike Duarte is,
Okay.
that they don't know who Paintmaster is, like give us like a 30,000 foot view on like who is Paint Masters, who is Mike Duarte, when did you step out, when did you start, and like what's life been since then?
Okay. Yeah. Quick 30,000 view of Mike Duarte is young in my childhood. My sister got sick with leukemia. I dropped out of school, went and was tutored by Seattle Children's Hospital. Long story, like once that battle was over, she lost the fight to cancer, and I came home and actually never went back to school. I never made it past sixth grade. Kind of,
What?
yeah, nope, never made it past sixth grade. Kind of got mad at the school system. In my mind, I wasn't I wasn't there, right? And so went, studied, got my GED, started working as a farmer, like out in Basin City, and just started grinding, was able to purchase my first home at 18, like just from just working hard, like just showing up, working hard and just grinding. And then uh, me and my brothers started Paintmaster. My dad had the company, but it was kind of just kind of a little bit here, a little bit there, not really like true company. It's kind of like a lot of the people you see like man in a van, not trying to grow, and just kind of basically owning a paycheck, right? And so we started in June of 2000 or 20. What is it now? Sorry, math live is fun, huh? 2014 is, and then we started. That's when we officially became owners of Paintmaster. And that time, it was in the red. It was over $300,000 in the red, and we just started grinding and never thinking of growing it or whatever, and just continued over the years, just being blessed and just double and double and double and just keep going up, have. Then we started Columbia Industrial Coatings in 2016, and then that has grown. They now have. When I left, we have just shy of 75 employees and 3 divisions: residential, commercial, and industrial, all painting. And it was awesome. It was like I never would have guessed it would have made it to that size. And so, and then once, I guess, I have 2 boys. Wesley is 12 next week, and he's just all into baseball. Super talented, super gifted, smart beyond his years. And Ezra is everything that I'm getting punished for when I was a child. But no, he's happy from the moment he wakes up to the moment he goes to bed. He's just happy. He loves life. He's always into, for whatever reason, he's in, right? Quick fun story, just his personality is like he swallowed a rock, right? Which, and you're like, dude, why'd you swallow a rock? He goes, they dared me. I'm like, you don't have to do a dare. And he's like, you don't? Like, and just like, he's a fun and super talented kid. And so, yeah, they actually yesterday he got his first true par on the golf course. Yep.
Really?
Yep, on hole 14 at Zentel.
That was
Yeah.
where you invited me.
Yeah, that's where I
Oh,
invited you. Would have witnessed
man.
it. You would have witnessed it.
Jeez,
So
bro.
that's kind of 30,000 view of where I'm at right now. So
No, that's awesome, man. And so you have Wes and Ezra, and I know Wes is just an athlete, man, and he's just a rock star, rocking that chain, man. Just
Yeah.
like he's got that swag in him. And then you have Ezra, who's like that little brother that looks up to him,
Yep,
right?
100%.
And you say that you had shared that before, that he's one of those kids that just is happy from the moment that he gets
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
to the moment that he goes to bed. And so, what does Wes and Ezra think of you now that you're home more often? Like,
That's exactly shows what their personality is, right? So Wesley loves the finer things in life. I always say he has that engineering brain. Like he's just always trying to figure it out, right? And he started crying when I broke the news to him. He started crying and he's like, "Are we broke?" Like like, because he's like, "Are we broke?" Like that was his concern, right? And Ezra triple dog dared me to quit, like. And so that kind of shows their personality. So they were literally night and day difference. Now that I think it's because like there's early in their life, like, man, I show up. I mean, I leave the house at 4 a.m. and I want to get home till 7, 8 p.m. Right. And so for them, me being home, I still try to get in my morning routine. I wake up, go to the gym, come back, and then they're getting up, and then we're like, "What are we gonna do today?" Kind of thing. And they're in summer vacation, so it's been really fun. And I think that Ezra just loves it, and Wesley is trying to figure out, okay, so if you're sitting around just kind of chilling, like how are we paying for stuff? Like I think that's Wesley's mind right now.
yeah, that's awesome, man. And I would be confused as heck too. Like, dude, my dad just turned 50
Yeah.
half a month ago,
Okay.
right? And so he's working as hard as he's ever worked. But like as a kid, I feel like I would have the same questions.
Yeah.
It's just like, think about like, hey, where's the money coming from? It's so funny that you say that, because my nephews actually did the same thing. Like, they asked that question one time. It was like, are we broke?
Yeah.
Like, how do you guys even know what broke is? Like, you're in 6th grade, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know what that meant. But like, for like you, like, how old are you?
41.
So you're 41 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And for you to step away from Paintmaster Services, the risk, the reward, everything that's came along with it, like not a lot of a lot of people dream about stepping away from their job at 41 years old,
Mm-hmm.
but not a lot of people ever get to taste that. Like what was that like final decision that made you like say, "You know what? Like this is it. Like I'm just stepping away and I'm gonna live my life." Like, what was that for you?
Ultimately, like, I think the final, like, I think in my heart of heart, I probably knew about a year and a half ago, like something wasn't being fulfilled. But you're almost like the easy way out would be to ride Paintmaster off in the sunset, change my grandkids' life because it's at the size that yeah, it's business, but it's going. It's it's not going nowhere, right?
Right.
I mean, besides a major collapse, then everybody has to worry about it. But and I just like, and so I actually went to a convention and met this guy and was chatting with him, and he's like, "Have you ever heard of like the disc profile?"
Yeah.
Okay, so this guy's like, "Hey, this is like disc profile on steroids. You should do it." It's this old guy in Pennsylvania, and you should, And so I get him home and I go and take it, and it's like called I think a Pinnacle Group, and and it's like this weird. It's different than disc, but it has these questions, and you rank them 1 through 4, and you go through and rank them 1 through 4, 1 through 4, and the last 6 questions is like 1 through 6, and they're like, and then 24 hours later, they send you a report, and then he calls you and has a conversation with you. And so I get the report and I'm reading it, and if I wrote a biography about myself, they did a better job of explaining. And this is just from the questions, and I'm like, wow. And so he calls me, and he's like, old guy, probably in his 70s. He's just super like it was like talking to your grandpa, and he goes, I would assume you would be like that, and he was right every time, and he goes, well, me and my team seen something on your report that is extremely alarming. He goes, you're a high I, which is typical because for entrepreneurs and stuff like that, that's who you are. We can see that. But you're adaptive. Most time your D is higher when you're a boss, and you're actually lower. And he goes, you are no longer being fulfilled at work. And this is a complete stranger from me just answering questions on this report. And I had, because you get to a point where you have partners, you have disagreement. You're like, okay, hey, let's get behind it. You get outvoted. Let's just go be a good partner and just, push for it. But ultimately, I hung up and I'd be like, you know something? I'm living with golden handcuffs on right now. Like, if I only get one crack at this life,
Yeah.
and I'm going to like this, I can't do this the rest of my life, And so at that moment, it was like, then that's what started the wheels, and then having the hard conversations with my brothers, which was better because of when we started the business, we hired a lawyer and did a buy sell and like had all these conversations at the end. We had them at the beginning, which highly recommend if your partners are awesome, but make sure you have those hard conversations before you go into partnership, and then it's great. So that was what started the motion, is because at that moment a complete stranger gave me confirmation that I was not being fulfilled, and it was like, something, let's do it. Let's go for it. Let's try it. Obviously my runway is really long. Like I don't have to work for a long while.
That's awesome, man. And that's just so awesome to see because 3 years ago we didn't even talk about
No,
any of this.
it wasn't
There
even.
was no walking away, there was no getting bought out. And my dad, like I just told you, my dad's 50 years old, and I love my dad, and my dad's a long way from retirement. And my dad could retire tomorrow, and I would take care of him for the rest of his life, and that
Mhm.
would be that. But like if he had to do it by himself, like he'd be there for a long time. But um, a lot of people, man, 41 is like you're in your prime,
Yeah.
bro.
No, 100%. And the thing is like that's where I am, but like I started grinding when I was at 16. Like I started working 60 to 80-hour weeks farming at 16, right? So it's like, and I don't, to my, in my remembrance, I've missed 1 day of work, and that was of like my whole entire like you don't say I'm sick. Like that's one of my biggest, like, oh, I don't feel good, I don't feel good. Like I don't, there's a many times I didn't feel good, right? And so that's just my personality, and that's where I'm not done, right? But I have such a peace. Like, yeah, I wish I knew exactly the next step that I'm doing, but I have such a peace, and and I now look at it, and I'm now, this is why I grinded. This is why I grinded. And you when you're in the grind, you have no, at least me, I had no like, oh, this is my end goal. Like, I literally showed up, woke up, work hard, go to bed, and stuff. And that was what it was kind of is starting to become clear to me now, is why I grinded.
No, that's super inspirational, especially for those people that are like in their early 20s and they're like, the average age for, retirement is 65, and you're like, man, can I really do this? But like you started way before the normal person did, but you just mentioned it yourself, like you worked 60 to 70-hour work weeks. Like, man, like that's exhausting, man. Like a lot of people don't understand how hard is it to be an entrepreneur. Like you get into business to be your own boss and to create your schedule, only to find out that like you're busier than ever and like you really don't have your schedule. And I lived that firsthand because like today was one of those days from 7 o'clock in the morning up until right now. It was back to back to back to back meetings. I
Yeah.
didn't even eat. Like I actually did eat because my
Yeah.
admins, but if it wasn't for my admins,
Yeah.
man, like the only 15-minute break that I had was the 15-minute drive to get here to record this podcast.
So I
And I
shouldn't.
missed the damn exit. And then I had to turn around. So I was late either way to begin with. But like for me, like I just finished 75 hard.
Yeah.
And so 75
That's
days
awesome, dude.
of just mental toughness, man. And there's a little bit physical to it, but I was at 206 and now I am at 180 pounds in 75 days. And it just felt so weird to me last night, like getting on the treadmill and like realizing like, damn, man, like after 75 days of being together, like, is this it? And it was so hard. And so I think that I'll take like a week just to like do whatever I want to do and then just jump right back into it, because there's phase one and it's everything that you originally did. But now there's a 3 minute or 5 minute cold shower, which I hate cold
Oh.
showers, and a few other things to it. But I think I'll just go right into it, man. But with that being said, it was like retiring at 41 years old, like stepping away. Like, was there self identity problems because you were so used to like the routine and going into the office every day and going to BNI if you went to BNI,
Hmm.
and like having like, was there like self identity things because you built your life around that, or
Yeah.
like how was that for you?
Well, going into it, like, it was like, oh, this is gonna be fun, like, right, like, and once once it became official, and that I remember that first Monday waking up, and I technically had nothing to do, like, for the first time in, you know 15 plus years. It was it was I always said that I wasn't a creature of habit, but I think all humans are creature of habits, because routines, it was like the same thing. And it was like, I have to do something. I have to do something. Well, that's kind of why I, well, since March 31st is when it closed. So April, I think I was home like 3 days. Like, I started flying, because then that's when I went down, because it was like I had to do, like, because I had to do something, right? I felt like I owed it to do something. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? And I wasn't giving myself the time just to, I guess, celebrate it. And then that's why I started using the word sabbatical, because it's like, I'm like, it was more of a funny word that I'm goofing off with, but it's like, it came to a point where like I had to, I had to work through that, because that was the identity, was that was my, I think I said it earlier, like, right, paint master was my identity, my connections were my identity. Like, then, people like that knew me, it was like, then I started thinking like, oh, the only reason they called me is because they wanted a favor for painting. Oh, the only reason they wanted me to go golfing is, and so it, like, human nature, like, doesn't matter, like, stuff is stuff, but like, connections and human, like, I think ultimately is like, what, when we get to the end of this life, how many lives did we change? And I think that's going to be the ultimate goal. And it was, I guess, to answer your question, like it was hard. And it's like I think it was probably it took me a good 2 3 months to even get in the mindset. Like I guess I felt guilty. I felt guilty for just waking up, going to the gym, coming home, making breakfast, taking the kids, like hanging out, doing the like I felt guilty, but it was like, wait, like I'm okay because I think my whole life I've always been stacking chips, right? Just like I guess poker term, right? You're always just stacking like and now it's like now I'm almost like each day it feels like I'm folding my hand, right? Which in the game of poker, that's not the
Right,
worst
right,
thing
right,
away,
right.
right? That's a good
100%.
strategy, right? It's like because I'm keeping it and folding my hand as I'm waiting for that next hand. And so that's where I think where my mindset is now is like I'm gonna listen to everything. I'm gonna listen to every opportunity because I do believe like a connection here, a connection there. Having the conversation about energy drinks earlier, right? Like fantastic, by the way. But like having that is like, oh, that's interesting. Just listening, and I'm like, I've kind of told myself I'm gonna listen to everything, but not make a decision quick because
God, man.
because I have that I don't have to make a decision out of necessity. I could go 5 years and not still not make a decision, right? And still do it. Like where because of the hard work prior to, I have that what I always keep saying long runway. Like, I am retired, but I'm not retired because like I don't have to work, but I will work. Like that's just who I am, and I don't know what it's gonna be, but I know I will be super passionate about it when I do it. Like I love the fact, like it really intrigues me small businesses, right? Because that's what I think when I went to Dallas and I went to San Diego is I feel like it's processes and culture and
Mhm.
all that stuff. Like if you could change that, like we could start cleaning windows and we'd be good, right? Like I mean, and we could grow a huge company cleaning windows. Like I really do like, and because you treat people right with customer service and you're good, and that's I think that's but I know that's a long answer, but that was like the process, my mental state in the last from March 31st to now. That's how it's kind of evolved from like, oh no, I have to do something to now it's like such a peace. Like I'm
and
so relaxed.
and when did you get bought out? When was that?
Uh, it fit. So it started at the beginning of this year. It became official. My last day of work was the end of March. So it's been what, April, May. So we're at almost five, about 4 months now. It's been go. It's
That's
fun.
so crazy, man. And like, I got a little
Yeah,
emotional as you were talking about that, man, because that's the goal, man.
yeah.
Like, I don't have kids, and I had a dad that was a workaholic and just grinded his whole life, and I'm so grateful for him
Yeah.
because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be who I am
No,
now. But like, I don't think that like has to be the blueprint for your life. Like,
100%. And that's a little bit to speak on that a little bit. It's like I think the same mindset is because my dad, we don't have a fantastic relationship, but I love him to death. And I will tell you this, he taught me how to work hard, right? Because I grew up, had a farm, like had to go change water before I went to school, had to, we had cows, had to do this, like showed up, where and it just like, and so he taught me that, right? He taught me how to work hard. And that's it's easy to like look on social media and look on this and it's like, oh, this is nothing's easy. Like it's hard work. Like but it's like I think I respect my dad a lot that he taught me that working hard you can make it.
yeah, and that's the same thing, man. Like if you work hard, I feel like you solve 50% of the problem. And like the reason why me and you are sitting today is because Fran came up to me and was like, "Hey, I have this studio which we're in now,
Yeah.
which is an amazing studio.
Yeah.
You look at everything that it has." And he's like, "I'll charge you X amount of money, man."
Mhm.
And that was a big like weight off my shoulders to
Mhm.
be able to like, man, like I can just go and like talk to somebody and it'll be ready to post. Like, what are you talking about, you know? But I feel like it's like having that open mind, man. Like I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for a cumulative result of like about 1,000 people that have come and impacted me in life. You being included, like I met you in BNI.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, man, when I first came into
Yeah.
business in
Yeah, I remember
2021,
it.
and we sit here 4 years later in 2025, and we went from the time that you met me from 3 employees to 55
Yeah.
employees and
100.
780,000 in revenue to on track to do 8 million, man. Like the sky's the limit, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like people like underestimate what you just said is like you just have to have like your ear like open and like just like very open to new ideas, man.
100%. And honestly, if you called me and said, "Dude, my guys are this, like, I need help, like, ripping off this roof," I would show up the next day, dude. I would I'm not afraid of hard work, and I actually really enjoy hard work, and I think that was ultimately a lot of the thing paying. I was like living behind a living behind a computer screen and being in meetings was not who I am. I'm more of the culture and the process guy. And but anyways, that's what's been so great about this. Like I went down to Atlanta to help my buddy he was at an airplane convention, right? I have no clue about airplane, but yeah, sure, I'll go, and stuff to be able to like the thought of being able to just help. Like that's what I've told all my buddies, like you need help, yeah, I'll come help you, I don't care. Like I'll work for you, like, and just because to me then it's more than at this stage now I can like, and I guess to just to confirm your point is I I say that because it allows me to keep my ear open and it keeps me because you never know what opportunity gonna hit, but that's what I'm saying, like you hear it and you can jump on it and go.
Yeah, and that just goes to like show what we were just talking about before the podcast. Like my TikTok is almost at 1 million views,
Yeah.
and it was one of those TikToks that like I wasn't even gonna post. And sometimes it's those things in life that like you least expect. Like if it wasn't for Alan coming up to me and being like, "Hey, Noe, like I'm trying to retire and I'm trying to sell my business. Would you be interested in buying it?" Like if I wasn't open to that, like me and you wouldn't be
No,
talking today.
100%.
And even if we didn't meet up until today, like I feel like we wouldn't have that relationship because we met at the specific time with the specific situation and the specific like common interest and values that we had to that led us to this conversation that we're having right now years after the fact that me and you both met each other. And we talked about this behind like scenes is that like, man, like I have some pretty cool stuff working up, and like you're that type of guy that's open. And I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of people shoot themselves in the foot because you're one decision from changing your lives.
100%.
And
And a lot of people have their ego in the way, right? Because
100%.
like that, and say that because like I, you don't, you can't be afraid of hard work, and some people feel like, and it is a little bit like I think early in life, like, oh, I'm just a painter, right? Or I'm just a roofer, but it's like, you can't have that ego, and people that have that ego, they want what TikTok and social media looks like, business owner and entrepreneur, but they don't understand that work that goes behind the scenes day in, day out. Like they don't see any of
A
that.
hundred percent, man. It's like I look at some people's TikToks and you're like, oh my god, like
Yeah.
this video went viral, and you hit their profile and it was like the only video that went viral, and the rest is like 600 and eight
Yeah.
hundred,
Yeah.
and like you could say that it's luck,
Yeah.
but
No.
like, dude, like there was so before this video went viral, there was so much behind the scenes and like so much grinds, and like you talked about like 60 plus hour work
Hmm.
weeks and like discussions with you like your significant other is like you don't spend enough time with me, and like in my specific situation, like I don't have kids, I have dogs. You have kids, and
Yeah.
so it's like you're not spending enough time with the kids,
Yeah.
and it's like it requires like a significant imbalance of like being focused on something to be like have to go to something else. And like there's never like a true balance for you to really like for you to be in your fitness, like you're gonna have to take away like there's this thing that there's a video that I saw, and it talks about like this guy that they go up to him and he's in a Rolls Royce and they go up to him and he's like, man, what do you do for work? And the guy's like, it's not about what I do. It's about what I don't do. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do this. I don't hang around like negative people. And
Mm-hmm.
like, it's about like subtraction, not addition. And like, I got really like locked in with this 75 hard because like I had to subtract things from my life. I
100%.
didn't
Yeah.
have to add things to be successful. And the more that I subtracted and distractions that I had in my life, the more like streamlined I was and the more at peace I was. And so for you, like, what was the biggest surprise like from you retiring at such a young age? Like, was it the anxiety, if you had anxiety? Was it the peace? Was it like the, like, what was the biggest thing that surprised you? Like, you walk away and then like from one day to another, just bam, like you're not involved in the business and
Yeah.
you're just at home. Like,
Yeah. Well, I think ultimately, like I think on our conversation, we are really working on trying to like almost create positions, right? Not wear so many hats in our company and so that happened where we had the guys like now taking positions, like, they would lead stuff. But I think ultimately is like, I think to answer probably peace. It was the weirdest thing because you're like, you wake up and you just like, you work and you're just, there's always like with business owner, I don't care how smooth it is and stuff. There's a fire. There's a fire each day. Sometimes they're small and you can step on them. Other times you need a fire truck, right? But there's stuff to work through every day. And I think I was worried about, the identity and all that. But I think when it all sat and I sat there, it's just that I wish, because there I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was doing 2 weeks from now. My calendar was full a month out, right? You know what your next week looks like, right? Because you have this, and so you don't have time to fill in time, And I think the peace that came from like just, hey, I don't have to do nothing. Like if like, oh, I'm gonna go to, I tease people. I was like, those old guys that are retired and you drive in their neighborhood and their lawn looks perfect and you hate them because their lawn's perfect and you never even met them. I'm like, my goal is to have that perfect lawn. Like, it'd be like, oh, I think I'm gonna go to Lowe's and like get some like weed killer, like, I mean, that I say I joke, but like I had that piece, I guess, but
yeah, no, that's awesome. And and that goes right into my next question, man. It's like, what does freedom actually feel like? Like, you just talked to me just yesterday when you
mhm,
said that Wesley
yeah,
or Ezra
Ezra,
Ezra had
yeah,
his first true par.
yeah,
Like, when you're like, hey, I
that's
have a tea time at 3. Would
yeah,
you want to join? And I'm like, bro,
yeah.
my Monday is like my busiest Monday. Like, I was like mid like meeting when you
Yeah,
even texted that. I just was able to take away a time from
yeah.
like the Zoom meeting. But like, it was one of those things, man. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't ever get to experience.
No, okay, so to explain a little bit, have you heard of Cody Sanchez?
I
She wrote,
haven't.
okay, she wrote Main Street Millionaire, and
It's a girl.
yeah, girl, and uh, she's awesome. She's a
And what was her?
powerhouse.
What did she write?
Main Street Millionaire, and
Okay.
she talks about buying small business, like trade businesses, like, the hard money jobs. And so actually right afterwards, because I had to do something, right? I had to jump into something else. I went down and hung out with her and her team, obviously paid to hang out with her team, but for like 3 days in Austin. And so went
Nice.
down there and they had like, and it was about deal sourcing and like, because I think ultimately in my mind, I think I'll probably buy a small business. I don't think I'll start one because I'll try to buy one because the business ownership, I mean, the first 2 years are the hardest, right? To get it up and going. And so I was down there and it was like they had classes and all this stuff, and I'm listening to them, and I'm like, man, like I don't mean this like, but it's like this is common sense stuff. Like this is kind of weird, because most people in this room was all W-2 employees, right? Trying to get into ownership, right? And so like I actually hit her main guy. You could schedule a one-on-one, so I scheduled a one-on-one with him, and I scheduled the one-on-one and talked to him, and he's like, he's listening to me. I'm like, man, I just don't like. I feel like I'm searching for what's net, all that, and he like stopped me and he goes, you know that everybody that's here is trying to get to where you are right now. And it was like, huh, like, because it never really sunk in, like, right? It didn't sink in that it's like, oh, it's okay. Like, that's what people are working. And I think that was one of the gears that turned to help me, like, like, I guess for the freedom, it's like, it's okay. Like, it's, I almost felt guilty for not grinding. Like, but it's like, it was okay to like again like did not to like rub it in, but I did go golfing again today too, so it's like so
What time?
I think it was tea time was 9:30, so
Nice,
I had to
man.
make sure I got done before for this. This was you were my full schedule today.
Nice, man. It is one of those things, like, I agree so much with you, Brand, that, like, my business coach tells me, like, hey, if it's Saturday and, like, you want to sleep in until 9, sleep in until 9. Like,
Hmm.
don't feel bad about it,
Well,
man. Like, your body's telling you that you need to rest. Because I'm so like, dude, I need to be up at
mm,
4:30 to get my stuff done. I do my reading, I do my gym before I even
mhm.
step a foot into the office.
Because if you don't do it in the morning, you won't do it.
Yeah,
Like at
and then
least
at the
me
end of the
personally,
day, yeah, at the end of the day, you're
done.
tired, man. Like, you just want to go home and like relax.
Hmm.
And this is from somebody that doesn't have
Yeah.
kids, right? Like, there is no relaxing when you come home with kids, I assume, because then they
Oh,
want to hang
100%.
out with you and they
Well,
want to
yeah.
do this and they want to do that. And I agree so much with you, man. Like, it's such a like the peace that comes with probably what you're experiencing, man. Like, I tell people, like, my goal was to retire by 55, and then I see
Yeah.
somebody like you, man, that I've known for
Yeah.
a few
Well,
years, and you've done it at 41, man. Like, it's a
dude,
big inspiration to
yeah.
me because it's if you can do it, then why can't I?
Yeah, 100%. Well, and two, I want to give you a shout out because like ultimately I was in BNI when Alan was in BNI,
Yeah.
right? And all of a sudden, poof, Alan's gone, and then this kid shows up. No, you're like, and I mean honestly, like, and this like I say this in as a compliment, like you didn't really know nothing about roofing, like, I mean you didn't really know nothing about business, but you also had zero quit in you. You literally like, yes, 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 right? Like, just hearing story and to me to see like every step, like every year, how huge you're jumping, like you'll be past me. Like you'll like if you keep trending, like dude, you got it. Like, because honestly, I respect like that's what it takes is the I will not fail mindset. And if people have like, it's hard. Like if you don't want to not have sleepless nights, if you don't want to have like wondering how you're going to make ends meet each month, just stick to your W-2 job. Just stick like cuz that's what comes with freedom, and but anyways, I just wanted to give you a shout out cuz like dude, like that it's been really impressive to watch your journey.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
now you're a famous TikToker.
no, right? No, I appreciate that, man. And it was one of those things, man, that like you said it's sometimes like you're so caught up in the grind and the go that you forget to like give yourself a pat in the back.
Hmm.
Like, I'm so like, you talked about the 60-hour work weeks, and like, man, I wasn't fucking expecting somebody to tap me in the back and say, "Hey, good job, Noe. Like,
Yeah.
you're doing good, man. Like, you're gonna make it all right." Like, it was just like self, like within myself.
Hmm.
Like, I have to make this work because of X, Y, and Z. And if I don't make it because of X, Y, and Z, then at the end of the day, like, nothing really matters,
Hmm.
man. And it was tough, man. Like, I resonate with you saying like, I have, and to this day, like right now, and I'll be very, very, very vulnerable about this. Like, I've paid myself 3 times this year. So out of the entire year, I've received 3 paychecks
Yeah.
because not because we don't have the money, because I pay myself a pretty significant salary. And if I can take that salary and like invest it back into the business,
Yeah.
whether it's with our marketing or whether it's
Well,
hiring somebody else that has more value than I can bring to the business, then I'll invest it about that,
thank you.
because it's not about me. It's about like the long-term vision and the long-term goals. Like, if you look at Mike Duarte at 21 years old, like, what was his reasonings? And you look at Mike Duarte at 30 years old, and what was his reasonings? And you look at Mark Duarte right now, like financially free, being able to step away from his business full time, and like be able to take your kids to the ballparks that you've been able to
Yeah.
take into, and to baseball. Like, dude, that makes it all worth it. Like, it doesn't
100%.
matter if I work 80, 90
Well,
hours or whatever.
well, I
You know
think,
what I mean?
yeah, and I think you have the right mindset because, okay, so almost any business owner, if they need like a truck, a work truck, they're going to go and get an $80,000 loan or whatever. They're going to go and invest in a work truck, right? Because they need a work truck. Wouldn't you, if you had an awesome, like let's say an operator that's just a rock star, and wouldn't you invest? It's like investing 120, like whatever their salary, 120, 140, you'll even get a tax break. And like, right? I mean, but you're investing in that, right? In that return. And like, what can you like pouring it back into your company and because that keeps you that's we did that same thing is like only took 4 paychecks a year and stuff because it was like it kept you hungry, it kept you pushing, it kept you going forward, it kept you looking and it kept you, which because I think a lot of businesses they get in trouble with cash flow and all that stuff, so it keeps you that cash flow. But what stock market are you going to put in that you're going to get 40% return on your investment, right? And so if you had an awesome operator that you want, they wanted $120,000 a year, and if you looked at it in the mindset of like this is an investment, you're gonna. I mean, in 6 months, if you haven't started getting a return on the investment, you're gonna cut bait, right? But I'm just saying, like some people, it's easy for them to. I need this piece of equipment to get. I need this, truck. I need this vehicle. I need this stuff so my guys can work. But they actually don't look at it as like I need this talented guy, so that or this talented girl that I could that so that would grow my business beyond me. Because I mean, right? I mean, never. You don't have to be the smartest man in the room. You just have to have them work for you. And so, I mean, right?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of that mindset.
And it's that ego, like,
No,
I,
back to the ego thing, like, right? Like, you can be the owner, but if you have somebody talented, you might not, you might be the owner, but your day to day, you might have a boss, you might have a CEO, right? Or whatever, when you're growing and stuff. So some people have that ego where they have to, like, I gotta be boss. I got, like, and I was blessed, like, that's not me. Like, I don't care. I'll grab it. And like I'll go on a job site and if I see the floor dirty, I'll start sweeping it, right?
yeah.
It's like I don't care. Like, I mean I think that's the mindset that has got me to this point is just like see a need, do it. I don't care. Like nobody's big, nobody's too big for anything.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a mindset that we share because, like, man, like, it's one of those things that people ask me sometimes, like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm just a janitor,
Yeah.
like, in my business,"
Yeah.
because it's like, "Oh, I'm the president and CEO and founder of A&A Roofing Services
Yeah.
and the partner in Roof Max of Tri Cities and
Yeah.
Walla Walla, and I'm
Yeah.
the founder of the Unclouded Podcast." Like, man, like people that don't have that like self-image will resent you
Mm-hmm.
because of that, like, and it's not that I care about what people think, but like I honestly tell people in my business, man, that like I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
it's not about me, it's about it's about the mission, and anytime that my personal interest overcomes the mission, it fails every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Not 2 times out of 10, or it fails every single time. And so I tell people in my business, and it's a big accountability check, is like the mission always becomes above the self-interest.
Mm-hmm.
The moment that our self-interest becomes above the mission, we fail every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like that's really allowed us to be able to scale, because I have some people in my business that are way better at like anything that I do than if I would do it myself. Like my administrative assistant, my office manager, like that duo, man, it's so awesome to see, because like I'm not an organized person.
Same.
Like, I
Same.
am not
Same.
organized at all. They keep me on my toes with like, did you get this done? And are you making sure that you got this filled out? And your training, you have to do
Yeah.
X amount of hours. And sometimes they just do the training for me because they see my schedule,
Yeah.
and they'll go, "Oh, you have a podcast with Mike today. Hey,
Yeah.
you need to make sure that you have this prep done so that you can be prepared." And it's like, you have to have people in your business,
So I had
man.
a executive assistant. She lives in Bogota, Colombia, And yeah, I miss her daily. Like, because it was like I wasn't good at organizing. Like, and but I had her for a year and a half, and it was literally like she managed my emails. Like, she literally responded to my emails. She's like, "Hey, you need to do this and this." Like, almost holding me accountable a little bit, because sometimes I think that's what we have. We're kind of loose cannons. We're like, like, oh, let's go for it.
We're
Like, yeah,
visionaries,
yeah.
man. We're
Oh,
focused
that
on the
works. That works.
vision and like
Yeah,
and
100%.
stuff like that. Like it's so easy to like get caught up with things like that.
Yeah.
But as far as like for you, man, like when you started with Paint Masters, like when you and your brother started with Paint Masters, what was your revenue like? Obviously it was zero, but like your first year, like what was the revenue as far as back when what year was that?
2014.
So 2014, what was your guys' revenue? Give or take.
Well, like I said, it started at negative 300,000,
Okay.
and so that was
Eh,
the, and then plus the fee. Like, honestly, I bet probably like I'm honestly, it's hard to, probably like 500, maybe high end 500,000. Like, I remember like the first big job that we got is repainting Kamayakan High School, and that was the first year that I climbed. No, yeah, that was the first year I climbed Rainier. So I was like going there, going there in the morning, setting things up. Like, the guys would show up, which were like a buddy of mine, a guy that was laid off, and a couple other, like, not painters. And we'd work all day long. They would go home. I would clean up, and then I would go and train for Rainier and come back. And me and four other guys painted all Kamayakan High School in the summer, and that was like the first big job that Paint Master had, was a repaint, Kamayakan
That's
High
so
School
crazy you
repaint.
say that because we're actively our one of our sisters companies and owners of our one of our
Yeah,
sisters companies, Jeremy and
yeah.
Pete. They're actually coding Kamaikan High School
Oh,
right
really?
now.
Oh,
So
okay.
full circle moment.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like for you, man, like when you left, where were you guys at? You say negative 300,000. We'll take that
yeah.
because it's true. My first year of business, man, like we were our numbers said that we were like 3% net profit, but I think we were negative.
Yeah, yeah.
But like what did you guys end at? Like when like revenue when you walked away, like
Right at 12.
12 million?
12 million. Yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah. So
That's a lot of paint.
yeah, that's a lot of paint.
That's a lot of paint and
That's
a
a
lot
lot
of
of painting.
painting.
Yeah, yeah. We don't get to mark it up like you roofers.
Yeah, man. I'd tell for roofing, that's not a
Roofing is
lot,
like, I might
man.
start a roofing company, mate. Do you need? No.
That's so crazy,
But
man.
yeah, no, that was yep, that's what we did. Like, yeah,
It's a lot of zeros.
it's a lot of zeros, a lot of work, a lot of people. But we kept lean. We were pretty much almost debt free, besides the place where we had, but that was like strategic wise, and yeah, it was like kept it lean, where our overhead was our material and our labor, right? And so yes, we owed it to our guys
It,
to work hard, but like on the same, and there's other people, like there's people that are way smarter than me that use debt for gain, and like, oh, you can do this and this and this, and it's like, I get it, it works because I can see it, but in all reality, it's nice going to bed and not owing a soul, nothing,
yeah.
and like, and so I think that's ultimately helped me get here. Is I haven't really, I haven't had debt really most of my life. I don't. I would rather chill and not have the fancy things than have the fancy things just for status. And I feel like everybody's chasing stuff, like, oh, I
Yeah.
want this fancy house, I want that, and you're doing it for other people, right? And so, at least this is just my opinion, and but once you get that, it's just, once you achieve stuff, because I chased it for a while, it's just stuff, and then I just got rid of it all, and it's just like, something, I'd rather have experiences and adventures. Now, food, dude, I'll drop money on food. Like, adventures, I'll drop money on adventures, like, right, that's fun to me, like, because those things that it's hard to put a price tag on, but like, new this and that, I don't know,
I
it's
wish
it's
I could.
cool, right? But it's
Yeah.
just,
I wish I could resonate you with being
yeah.
debt free. For the first 2 years in our business, we were
Yeah,
debt free.
well, yeah, okay,
But we had to scale.
yeah,
And in order to scale the way that we've scaled, we went from 780,000 to
yeah, dude,
eight
yeah, yeah,
million.
you're huge,
So
yeah,
like there's a lot of like floating cash flow and floating
Yeah.
jobs. And
No,
so
and that's and 100%. And there's people that like said do it, and that's why early on we took like I was making less than minimum wage, and we just took bare minimum, just like right, just that's where like people they didn't really. I was living in a 600 square foot when I bought Paymaster. I was living in a 608 square foot house off of Wright Street, right?
in Richmond.
Yeah, in Richland,
Oh
one of
God.
those old houses, like making less than minimum wage, working 60 plus hours a week to get us out of the red, right? To then that that it's easy to see now, but it's like, dude, back then it's not fun. So you have to make sacrifices, unless you just win the lottery or get lucky, And
Yeah.
but there is PO. So our mindset was like, let's just get this, and what's our zero number, and let's like have that. But anyways, that was just the way I did it. That's the
Yeah.
way I attacked it, and it gave me more peace.
Yeah. No, I see that and I respect it, man. Like obviously we're in different industries,
Hmm.
but like for you, like obviously this is you came from painting.
Hmm.
That's what gave you the financial freedom that you have now,
Hmm.
right? Like if you are I have a guy that's painting my pergola right now.
Hmm.
And it's a very unique story. This guy came up to me and was like, he messaged me on Facebook to begin with, and it was like, "Hey man, like, I'm actually looking for work. Would love to work with you on any of your projects that you currently have." Coincidentally, it was one of those things that it was just a pergola, and I'm changing out my deck in the next week, and
Hmm.
wanted to change out my pergola and paint it before that got done. And I was like, "Hey man, like thanks for reaching out. I appreciated the hustle of him
Yeah.
DMing me." And he came down and I was like, "Yeah, what's it gonna run me?" And he gave me well, I'm not really good at estimating. But like I just really would just want you to try me out, look at my work, see the job that I do, and if like I do a good job, then I just would like for you to refer me to people and just pay me like per hour on what I'm doing. And I said, "Dude, like the thing is that like I don't want to pay you $6,000. You're here for a month and a half, and I have to pay you $6,000 versus if I would have got a quote
Yeah.
from a legit company, it would be 3K or
Hmm.
whatever it is with paint." He's like, "No, I know, but I honestly, man, like I just don't know how to bid this, and I just, I just want you to give me a chance." And I have a ton of friends, including yourself.
Yeah.
I know that you stepped away from it, but there's still family involved in
Oh yeah,
there. And
for
then I
sure.
have Jason and just a bunch of
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
that I've known in the paint industry. And it
Yeah.
was just one of those things like why I selected him. It had nothing to do with like price. It was all to do with like I just resonated with him.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah. You appreciate
resonated
that
being
grind.
like the honesty and like, dude, I don't have a damn idea of what the hell I'm doing right now, but just give me a chance.
Yeah.
Just give me a chance and just let my work do the talking. Like
Yeah.
that used to be me. Like
Yeah.
I used to win jobs my first year in business. We were 3% net profit, 4% net profit because I was just giving jobs away because I just
Yeah.
wanted our work to get out there. I wanted people to see that like if we messed up, we were gonna make things
Hmm.
right. And 3 weeks later, he's finishing up. This morning, I was pulling out of my driveway, and he was pulling up. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on? How much do you need?" He's like, "We just got to do the touch-up paint on the post." And I'm like, "Hey, boy, if you need anything, let me know." And but obviously, painting gave you that financial freedom. So
Hmm.
if you're day one, month one, getting into business, painting contractor, what's your best advice that you'd give that person? Like if you were you back in that situation and you're just like you worked for a painting company and you just were like, "Man, like I want to take the risk of like going off and doing this by myself." What would you tell that painting contractor?
Hmm.
Young Kobe Mike.
Yeah.
What would you tell
Well,
that person,
honestly, I
man?
think to touch back, just like the last comment was like run lean. Like don't get yourself in debt, because debt creates money stress, creates a whole different money stress hits way different than any other stress, right? It's one thing having so much work that you have to get it done, but it's one thing money side. But ultimately
Yeah.
is play the long game. Play, and I said this a lot, and it's like I don't know if you've ever heard the Jay Leno story. Have you ever heard about, well, I mean, Jay Leno, but his story,
No.
Jay Leno, the night, It's too long to tell here, but like honestly, go and look at it. We can talk about it
Jay
later. But
Leno.
Jay Leno, yeah, the
Okay,
guy that ran the
we'll drop the link on the.
yeah, okay, yeah, we'll find it. But it's amazing. Well, he always played the long game, right? And so my advice would be play that long game. So like treat customers right. Like you could, because there is people that are they just hate the world and they just are grumpy and they just want to they want to get a freebie. There is people out there right there, but if you never let them win and just you like or let them win and just always just like treating them right, it will there's no better thing than word of mouth. Like once you get that reputation, and Tri-Cities is still Tri-Cities, right? We get bigger but we're still small. And and I think that's the thing is just do it the right way. Don't cut corners. Don't go for the quick cash. Don't like there's jobs we turned down because it was like, "Oh, I just want to blow and go, like I'm selling my house next month." It's like, "Well, yeah, I appreciate that, but your neighbor doesn't know about this conversation. So they're going to see the house fading in a year after you're long gone, and they're not going to ever call Paintmaster because they're like, well, they were quick, but like they didn't do a good job, right? And so do it the right way. Don't cut corners, and don't worry about like if you can wake up and I love baseball, so I use baseball terms. Hit singles every day. Guess what? 4 singles, you're still scoring, right? You're still scoring. Like, and yeah, you will, when you do it that way, all of a sudden, you'll hit a grand slam, right? And you're just like, dude, we've all had those jobs. We're like, I don't know how I got this, but it's amazing, right? Like the profit margins, everything is just like, how would it fall in my lap? Like, this is amazing, right? And so I think that would be my advice is just do it the right way. Don't cut corners. Your reputation matters, and sometimes when you have money stress, sometimes you make decisions that you wouldn't make. So therefore, that's why I would go lean. That's why I would go on that side because there's sometimes, man, if you have to pay the bills to feed the family and keep food on the table and keep your employees, keep the lights on, all this stuff, you might take that job you wouldn't take, but you need to take that job, right? And so that would be my advice is just don't worry about people when they start a business. The reason they start is like, I want financial freedom, I want flexibility, I want to go on a trip if I want to go on a trip, and that's great, but they don't realize what it takes. They don't realize the 608 square foot house and grinding, and they don't it takes. That's why I'd probably buy a business more than start a business now, right? Yeah, I
Because
have
of
the
the
free
beginning
because
stages.
the first couple 2-3 years is the worst part of
Yeah.
business. It's the hardest part of business, and like that's what's the most important is establish that. And so I think that would be what I'd
Yeah,
tell somebody.
no, valid and such a good response, man. Because like, if I look at Mike Duarte from the moment that I met you, like being 22 years old, sitting in BNI, and just like from the outside looking in, like it felt like you had everything put together. And we fast forward 4 years later, man, and you step away from your job. Like for me, that's like I had told you just
Yeah,
earlier this episode. Like,
yeah,
dude, that's inspirational, man.
yeah.
Like
Well, thank you.
that's legit. And I don't think that I'd be in my business without what you just said is playing the long game.
Hmm.
Your reputation does matter. And I feel like if you're that business owner that you think you're just gonna come in and 2 3 years be rich and run off in the sunset, then you have a very very rough awakening,
Or you did it the wrong way.
or you did it the wrong
you
way,
you didn't
because
have integrity.
there's a chance. But it's just like poker, man. And
Yeah,
I'll compare it to
yeah.
this, like ace 2 versus ace king. Over the long run, like ace king
King's
is going
gonna
to
win.
win x% of the time, and you might flop the 2 on the river and you get super lucky, but
Yeah,
like statistically over the long run, like
hundred
you're going to
percent.
lose.
Yeah, yep,
And I think that that's what that creates is predictability.
yeah,
And one of the things that we've done in our business is create a good brand.
yeah.
Is a brand that people can trust.
Quick story came to mind is there's this lady. that it was one of the only jobs that we kind of really lost. But she was the most difficult. She was nice, but she was the most difficult customer you've ever dealt with in your life. And she's the one that actually started us thinking about processes and all that. But we painted the whole house, inside of the house, right? And then she's like, "Oh, you painted the wrong color." Ultimately, she didn't like the color after it was
Right.
painted, right? Bit our tongue and said, "Okay, let's do it," and did it the right, like did it, like lost money on it. It was like wasted time, lost money. We got from her, we got like 6 jobs, and multiple of her friends said, "If you can make her happy, we know that you can make anybody happy," because we've been friends with her for 30 plus years and we've never seen her happy with a customer or with somebody that she hires. She's always mad at somebody, right? And so it was just like, so I tell that story. I like to tell that story because it's like, if you play that long game, like if you need that cash, like that is going to hurt, right? But if you can just take it on the chin,
Yeah.
you're going to win that battle.
Yeah, Fran was in the last one in the last podcast,
Yeah.
and that's a story that I shared. Man, like I had to pay for a turkey for $900,000.
Oh,
No, not $900,000
yeah.
dollars. I would that'd be insane.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, great. That'd be expensive turkey for
Yeah,
$900.
yeah,
And $900 for a turkey, like you could go to the grocery store and buy one for $60,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
But
That's
we had to take it in the chin for $900 because my dad rented the turkey and then my dad's dog literally ate the turkey. And I had to go back
Thanksgiving
to the
early.
customers and tell them like, look, like the $800 that you owe me, like let's just call it a wash. Like I'll just give you $900 for the turkey that my dad like obviously took from you guys and then his dog killed.
Yeah,
But I don't want to take them, and they're like, "Oh, let us pay for the material." I'm like, "I don't want the material." Like,
yeah,
I just would hate for such a good job to be ruined because of a
yeah.
turkey.
And
And then they turned around and gave us like $70,000, $60,000 worth of business,
mhm.
man. And so sometimes it
It
does
hurts.
matter. Just take it in the chin, just bite your tongue, and just be like, "Hey, you know what? Like, I'm far better off like just like pleasing this person and like doing the right thing
Hmm.
because it's gonna pay off in the long run." Would I said, "Hey, you know what? Pay me my money. I don't care." Like
Yeah,
that was different. That was between
that's
you and my
swinging
dad,
back.
and
Yeah,
that's not between me and
hmm.
you. Like I'll
And they
leave your
would have paid it.
house.
They probably would have paid it.
They would have paid it, but we wouldn't have got the 60,000, and they wouldn't be people that would be
So
referring us to this
So
day. You
that's why,
know.
like, sometimes I think you have to have certain mindsets like that. Look, as that was $900 of advertising to get a $70,000 job, right? So right, you did
Yes.
a $900 advertising with her, and she gave you she
Yeah,
gave
I'll
you a
do that
seventy
all
thousand
day,
dollar.
every day. If I have to pay a thousand
Yeah,
bucks to
exactly.
get sixty
And
thousand
I
bucks in
mean, no,
returns, man,
I
call
mean,
me,
there's
count
very
me in.
few people in this world that loves to get punched in the chin, right?
Yeah.
It's not fun, but sometimes you have to have grit. You have to be tough. Like, it's not easy.
Yeah, no, I agree that 100%, and it's one of those things that, like, man, like, I shared this in in the last podcast is if that I had to take a million right turns and I had to take a million left turns, and any one of those turns could have led me to a completely different
Hmm.
situation that I am right now, and I feel like that's you as well. Like
Hmm.
we do so much like to pat ourselves in the back and be like, "Oh, you're so good. You're
Yeah,
so
yeah.
good. Oh,
But
you
no,
just landed this job. Oh my God, you're such
yeah,
a good sales guy." But I think it takes really like a lot of humility to like sometimes take things on the chin
yeah,
and realize that like hey, at the end of the day, I have to thank God because any of
hundred
those
percent.
different directions could have led me in a different path.
100%. Yeah, definitely. Obviously, like I said, I talked about the early on, like that was identity I had to break through, not having the education and stuff. And yeah, God's definitely multiplied and blessed, and the only reason why I'm sitting here today, right? And He's kept me from a lot of things, and yeah, it's just that's the thing is if you just I don't know, just do the right thing. Like, don't like I think there's so much shadiness in business and it's so easy to be caught up in the shade, because we all have those things you're like you could just slipped it through. You could slip that change order through, right? And you could change the verbiage and justify it in your mind and stuff, but it's just like just do it the right way. Just and if you, and like I said, because ultimately, like God is the reason why we're here. The bless, and that's, I think ultimately, like I said earlier, that by the end of life, like I want to see, like I want to be able to help people. Like I want to figure out, like my next adventure will definitely be helping try to change some lives. And that's ultimately, I think, that
That's what you're
what I'm
doing now.
after.
Yeah. And so last time I heard that you said you're putting your ear to the ground, listening for the next opportunity to see what comes up. But like your day is just like what you choose to do. Like if
Hmm.
you want to get up and just go to the gym and have your uh your milkshake that
Yeah.
you have and just kind
Yeah.
of hang out, like then that's what you do. I know that you got a badass golf
I do,
simulator
and
and
yeah, we have the right now because we have a batting cage in the shop. So like Wes loves playing baseball. So like I just throw probably 200 balls to him a day, almost, and that's him doing it, just asking for it. Ezra, he loves baseball. He does hit it, but he doesn't have the attention span yet. So he's actually doing soccer and he's liking it. So I'm trying to learn soccer. But no, I. I got to be honest. I think I will be kind of happy when they go back to school a little bit because then I can actually then because right now it's like okay, what are we doing today, what, and I'm doing it because it's not that it's like I feel obligated. It's just like I mean my boys make me tick. I mean you could on the last podcast, right, I went off and like honestly, like
yeah.
those boys make me tick, and I love hanging around them. Like I mean they change, kids change your life crazy amount, but it's like I love spending time with them. I love just watching them grow and learn things and evolve, and it is sometimes the most irritating thing that my kids do is because things that they learned from me, probably so.
Yeah. So if
But
we can give the viewers an actionable step
hmm.
to end this podcast, what would you tell? And it's hard because like I just don't feel like it applies to painting business owners,
Hmm.
because what you've been able to do at your young age of 41, it's I feel like if you can get it, then why not, in any different industry. But what would you tell that person that like is in their early 20s, mid 20s, even in their early to mid 30s, that are like, man, like I feel burnt out, I feel out of purpose, I feel like what I'm doing currently isn't getting me the life that I want. Like, what would you tell that person? And I can share a lot of different stories of what like I
Hmm.
felt like self doubt and like self
For sure.
betrayal and just guilty of things that I was doing. But like, what would you tell that person, man? If it was just one thing, what would you tell that person?
Man, that's a deep one.
Like you're Mike Duarte,
Yeah.
21 years old. You have no idea. Wes isn't born
Yeah.
yet. Ezra isn't born yet. You're just trying to make things work out. What would you tell them? And I know it's a deep one, but like I just really want to give somebody that like that nugget that they can take and apply it into their life.
I would tell them that you like the world of social media is a status thing, and everybody's like looking for like status, and social media
Mm.
is not real. It's entertainment. Like people that are post on social media, like you do it for your business, you do it for fun and thing, but it's like it's not who you are. Like it's not. And I think when you're 21 and you get caught up in that. You get caught up in, I have to reach this status. This is what status looks like. This is what this is what achievement looks like. And I would say like none of that matters. Like that throw that out, because ultimately people come in and come out of your lives. There's seasons and not seasons. You said earlier that you are who you hang out with, and that my dad always told me that, and like one of those things that you don't believe until you are, like you want to get in circles, go be in those circles, right? If you hang out with people that just like to bum around, you're gonna bum around, right? It's naturally to that. And I don't know, I guess my one thing would be that is just be you and get comfortable in your own skin, because we all have a purpose in this life. We all have a reason why we are here. We're all chasing it and trying to figure out what that purpose is. But if you fulfill that, and your purpose is different than my purpose, and if you can find that and be you. I always tell my boys, be you always. Be you. Like, because being you is enough. Like, just don't, like, we're humans. We look at, especially the older I get, I think the less I do, but you still look at, man, I wish I was this, I wish I had this, I wish I was taller, I wish I was faster, I wish I was better like, I wish, and it's like, man, we can't change that stuff. Just be you, and that's good enough. Treat people right, treat people how you want to be treated, like, and cream rises to the top. If you could show up and start at a garbage truck company, just start like at the bottom, and if you worked and worked and worked and worked, you could own a garbage company. Like, I really believe that, because hard work pays off. Doing it the right way pays off. Like, I think that would probably sum it up,
I
right?
love
What I
that.
do.
I love that. I don't think I could have said it better. Pretty much what I understood from that is that, like, you only get one shot at life, and sometimes the vehicle in which we decide to do that in isn't the final destination. Like, what I'm
100%.
doing currently right now with my roofing business is a vehicle that's going to give me the life that I want, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't see myself built around that as my identity of,
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, I'm going to be a roofer until the day that I die. Like, no, I want to be a leader. I want to be,
Mm-hmm.
a great dad and somebody that I can impact more people than I can within my roofing business. And so, with that being said, man, thank you so much. This concludes season 2, episode 2 of the Unclouded Podcast, with the title being One Shot at This, with Mike Duarte being able to retire at a young age of 41. And if you are struggling within your business and having self doubt about whether you can make it until the end, whether that's you to having self doubt of, like, man, like, I am working 60-hour plus weeks, I'm negative $300,000 in debt. Mike is a prime example of somebody that's been able to receive all of that turbulence and being able to turn that into a positive. Now being able to travel the country with his kids and be able to have the flexibility of what he wants to do. And so, with that being said, thank you for joining in. And this concludes season 2, episode 2 with Mike Duarte.
Let's go.